Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. That's Eastern Time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always a fun ride. You know, a lot of folks ask us how to get in contact, how to send email. It's really easy. Just send suggestions, anything you would like for me to have a particular topic. I'll be glad to do some research for you. You can send an email to Donna at donnasedge.com. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. One of those topics just happens to be about homeschooling. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. There's many ways you can find us, all the social media sites. You can welcome any of those you would like, including Facebook, Twitter, and just a number of them. You can also find us on television. We are syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. So let's go ahead and dig right in. I found a good article, and this is from the website Ramsey. Everybody knows Ramsey Solutions.com. That's RamseySolutions.com. And in here, he gives you the guts about it. You know, what's good about it, what's bad about it, to make sure that you get your worth of what you think of homeschooling. I happen to be an advocate, and I will be honest with you, I did not think so at first. I know my my husband's sister, Paula, was actually homeschooling their kids. And when I found out about that, they're smart kids, very smart, and Paula's very smart as well. But my question was, how are they going to be able to interact with other people in society once they get out of mama's, rules and regulations and how to do things? I'll have to tell you, I've never met a friendlier bunch of kids in my life. I mean, they hit school, go to college, do everything other kids do. But I have to tell you, they're smarter. Yeah, you can put me in a room full of 1,000 kids. I'm going to point out the ones that are homeschooled. So this is well worth reading. As a matter of fact, my son, who's now in his 40s, had this been known back in those days, I would have homeschooled. There's so many pluses. I can't think of any minuses. But we're going to come up with those. Again, RamseySolutions.com. That's RamseySolutions.com. So imagine a school where your kids get real life, hands-on math lesson with an individualized instruction, followed by flexible time frame. That's important to work on a class presentation. They get consistent feedback from their teacher on their progress, and their grades are shooting through the roof. And what if that school was right in your own home? Easier than you may think. You may have your own ideas about what homeschooling is like, but it's time for a new perspective. Homeschooling is back and more relevant than ever. COVID helped that to happen. Okay, a few good things came out of COVID. Maybe you're considering homeschooling as an option for your kids right now, but you're not sure really where to start, or maybe you're just curious about how it works. Whatever your current situation is, this bird's eye view of homeschooling will give you all the information you want on whether you're going to do it or not do it. Okay, so what is homeschooling? Okay, you've likely heard a lot about homeschooling lately, especially when COVID hit the scene. Okay, so the COVID-19 pandemic gave homeschooling a major popularity boost. To put things into perspective, before COVID, about 2.5 million U.S. children in grades K to 12 were being homeschooled. Just 1 year later, that number doubled. So essentially, homeschooling is a parent-directed education from the comfort of your own home. Now, families might choose to homeschool their kids for a lot of reasons, but freedom is usually at the top of that list. Now, by teaching from home, parents have the freedom to choose their own curriculum, also customize their homeschool schedule to fit the family's needs, and even can take learning out on the road. That's why homeschooling is so popular with young artists, and actors are doing that. Okay, so some families use homeschool tutors, or they attend classes that's like a co-op where all the homeschooling parents get together, and the education options are really endless. Now, ultimately, the student's education is the parent's responsibility. That might feel a little bit intimidating. I know it would have me, but hang tight. We're going to dig in just a little bit deeper so you can see what it is all about. Now, what are the benefits of homeschooling? All right, now, wipe your mind, just be blank, okay? Just listen to this. And if you're driving down the road and you really can't jot any notes down, again, it's RamseySolutions.com. RamseySolutions.com. Okay, public school, private school, homeschool, charter school, the education options are endless these days. So if you're trying to decide whether homeschool or public school is better, here's some of the most common benefits to homeschooling. I mentioned a little bit earlier, homeschooling provides flexibility. Since homeschool parents are the teacher, principal, and the superintendent all at the same time, they have the freedom to create their own homeschool experience for the kids. They can choose a curriculum and customize their school schedule to best meet the needs of the family. Now, if they want to take a long trip in the middle of the school year, they can do it. All they have to do is rearrange their schedule, even take the homeschool with them. And I'm just going to tell you, some of the things I remember most about school growing up was when we'd take these field trips. So you're the parent, you want to homeschool, you decide you want to go by. We went by the Coca-Cola company one time. That was breathtaking. And also, how they make ice cream. Went to an ice cream place one time, went to the dairy farm one time. You can do all of those things. It's just amazing, that flexibility that's out there just for you. Getting over the flu, but I tell you, I still got that little hacky cough sometimes. Okay, now, taking the school with you is worth a lot, especially for people who have parents who live out of state, they have relatives in other parts of the country. Great thing to do. Stop by a zoo on the way. You can learn all kinds of things. Stop by an apothecary. All kinds of things you can do. Your homeschooling pace is customizable. Homeschool students get to learn at their own pace. They might fly through the math session on time, but need another week to understand fractions. You have the freedom to slow down and let them work ahead, sometimes even to the next grade level. If the consistency nailing their lesson, this is partly why 78% of homeschoolers score significantly higher on standardized tests. There's no barrier. There's no wall. They can learn all they want. Now, homeschooling allows for learning outside the classroom, which I think is awesome. Okay, homeschooling doesn't happen just at the home, and it usually doesn't look anything like a school. Parents have much more freedom to work outside, go on field trips, travel, and teach beyond the classroom. Hey, how about this? You can teach gardening to your kids. That's extremely, extremely helpful right there. What happens with a seed? When you plant a seed in the ground, what happens? Let those kids see that firsthand. They may have more flexibility and fewer funding or transportation issues than a larger class might have. Everyday outings turn into unexpected lessons when you learn to think like a teacher. I feel like when I was growing up in the 1960s and the 1970s, I feel like I had the best time. I really do. We got to learn so much. I had so many wonderful, wonderful teachers who would teach outside the box. And in those days, they taught you to use your imagination. You can do that for your kids right now. Okay, homeschooling lets you individualize the education. Okay, homeschooling allows you to vary the teaching material depending on your child's interest in their preferred learning style. Now, does your daughter love astronomy? Okay, you can spend more time on the solar system during science class. Does your son especially enjoy working with his hands? You can add physical hands-on activities into your lessons, like building blocks to do a math problem or sidewalk chalk to write his spelling words. Is your child into computer games? Set up an online program, Extra Math, to help them with their math facts. And by the way, parents are loving this too because they're learning more things. You're never too old to learn, and this really adds to that. Now, is there a drawback to homeschooling? Yeah, there's drawbacks to everything. So let's listen. Let's go ahead and get those down pat. Because every family is so unique. Schooling that works great for one family may not work for another. So here are some of the drawbacks to homeschooling. Okay, it starts with this. Homeschooling relies on parent responsibility. It all starts with you, the parent. Okay, while students are able to self-pace and work independently, a lot of the time the teaching responsibility ultimately falls on the parents. Now, this means it's the parents' job to make sure their kids are on track with state standards and that these kids are ready for graduation. The good news is there's lots of helpful resources and curricula to guide you through the process. You would not be the first parent to feel imposter syndrome in teaching your child, but you can do this. That you can find complete lessons for an individual subjects or an all-in-one 12K curriculum. Some ambitious parents even choose to create their own curriculum. You want to teach more history. You want your kids to know more about how this country was founded and why it was founded the way it was. You want those kids to know those things. That's how we were taught in school. We saluted the flag. We learned all of the history and in particular ways to say things, particular ways to phrase things. And it's so important that kids learn these things because when they get out on the job, I'm telling you, it's not going to be all about them when they get out there, okay? They're going to have responsibilities on the job. Why not go ahead and start that right now? Okay, the cost of homeschooling falls on the parent. You can consider that a negative thing if you wanted to. Since the government doesn't fund homeschool programs, the cost of homeschooling is typically left to the parents as well. Now, this means you'll have to budget to cover your cost of the curriculum, the extracurricular activities, field trips or outings, and any extra supplies you'd want for your lessons. Now, I'm going to kind of guard this by saying this. Okay, a lot of parents, I know I did when Brad was going to school, I sent so many things I bought things and sent them to class. And a lot of you parents do that as well. Why not just do it and have the simplicity of it being at your own home? Teach within your own guidelines. But don't worry, there are some great ways to save on materials, like using library cards, finding used homeschool curriculum, or joining a co-op to share resources and split the cost with some other families. Something, cheaper by the dozen sometimes. By saving money that would normally be spent on high school tuition, you might even wind up with a chunk of change to put towards that college education. Spare your student the stress of student loan debt. Okay, we're going to have to go into a commercial break. We're going to return in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Okay, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. Now, that's Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate you watching every single day, beginning at that time. You can find us on television. Yeah, you can find us syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can find us on the newscasters, all the social media sites, and all of those ways in between. We've got some announcements we're going to be making in just a few weeks, how we're expanding our horizon as well. Okay, we're talking about homeschooling. What are some of the downsides to homeschooling? Now, we have some really, really good reasons why you'd want to do it. The benefits of homeschooling is it provides flexibility. Okay, so what if you had to take a trip and you wanted to take the kids with you on the trip and you guys get in really, really late on Sunday? Fine. Instead of the school beginning at 8 o'clock, you can begin the school at 10. You've got that flexibility, so keep that in mind. Don't let the naysayers tell you not to do it. You need to figure this out on your own. Homeschooling pace is customizable. Again, going right to that. We took a trip, got back late, went to see the family who live on the other side of the country. You're traveling, you're teaching. As you do that, stop by, let them see the great snowman. Let them see all kinds of wonderful things. The zoo is always a great place to go. Field trips are probably, when I was in school, I remember learned a lot more through going on school trips when I was a kid in school. So, keep that in mind. Also, homeschooling allows for learning outside the classroom. Again, field trips and that kind of thing. I remember going to school, and we went by the Coca-Cola Company. This is in Oxford, Alabama, where I grew up. And so it was a big field trip. We got to go see how the bottles, how they would sterilize them and how they put the colas in the bottles and all of those things. It was a wonderful thing. We got to learn so much. And one time we went to a dairy farm where they were making ice cream. We got to see how the ice cream was made commercially, and that was just absolutely phenomenal too. Now, we've been talking about the drawbacks of homeschooling. Drawbacks to everything, but let's talk about these. We talked about homeschooling relies on the parent's responsibility. The cost of homeschooling is going to be falling on the parent. We learned that. However, there are co-ops out there, and with the wonderful thing, Facebook can be a great thing. Twitter can as well. So you can find Facebook pages where all the homeschooling parents are on this particular page. They learn from each other, they trade, they all sell used materials as long as it's something that you can use. And so you're going to find it's not going to cost as much as you think it's going to cost when you compare that to having to buy new clothes for the kids, and those kinds of things, paying for babysitting, when the kids get off from school. You'll find that you're probably going to wind up with more money in your pocket and putting that money in the bank for those kids if they decide to want to go to college. Now, homeschooling does require a lifestyle change. Your whole world is going to be changed when you homeschool. Okay, for most families who are used to sending their kids to traditional schools, homeschooling can be a huge lifestyle change. One parent has to stay home instead of going to work every day. Kids have to find other ways to meet friends. Students aren't allowed in the same school-sponsored activities that their peers are attending, and siblings and parents spend way more time together, just to name a few of those things. Now, I was mentioning my sister-in-law, Phil's sister Paula, who homeschooled. What I found fascinating is she was teaching Spanish, I believe it was, to the boys. They were older, and the little girl was just kind of walking around. She was learning Spanish just by what she was catching. Smartest one of the group, by the way, and the boys are smart. So it was falling on her, so she was taking the responsibility of learning new things even as a little girl, as a tiny little girl, before she was even old enough to go to school. So think about that. Okay, the smaller one's going to be hanging out, and they're going to learn things too. You're going to raise some smart kids. Again, one has to stay at home, and this means the family spends much more time together. I'm not seeing that as a terrible thing. I think it's wonderful that families can spend time together and learn from each other, and learn how to get along with each other is also important. But there are plenty of ways to meet other homeschool families in your communities. We mentioned the co-ops. There are also sports leagues and group classes. So your kid wants to play football, like my son wanted to play football. Sure, they have their own little football teams out there too. They get competitive, by the way. You'll wind up meeting other homeschooling families. Your kids are going to meet people all over the country if you homeschool them. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just telling you the brass tacks on how it is. Okay, there are plenty of other ways to meet homeschooling families. We mentioned the co-ops, the sports leagues, and the group classes. Sometimes public schools even allow local homeschoolers to join in on their extracurricular activities. So if you're worried your kids might fall behind socially, don't be. Now, every homeschooler kid I've met is way up there in social. Okay, most homeschoolers perform significantly better when it comes to social, emotional, or psychological development. This includes family cohesion, how they interact with their peers, their participation in the community, their leadership skills, and their self-esteem. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes there are bullies at school, and sometimes within families there are bullies as well. But you know what? Mama or Papa is going to be watching that, okay? So they won't be able to get by with that like you could in the regular school system where there are so many other kids there vying for attention. So, again, bullying, not so much. Okay, homeschooling is a big time commitment. It is. Homeschooling parents naturally have less time for themselves because of the new role as the head teacher. Now, instead of sending kids to school in the mornings and picking them up in the afternoon, homeschooler parents sacrifice a lot of their own free time day to day by teaching their kids from home. Now, to help with this, try carving out an hour before your kids wake up to get some prep work done and feel ready for the day. Or become a meal prepping master so you can have more time in the evenings that's normally spent making dinner. Hey, that's what the freezer is for. Buy things. Go on ahead and buy meat on sale. Buy half a cow from someone in your local area, by the way, who has the best cattle. They're not hormone fed. Yeah. So buy up a half calf again. Go in with other people. Wind up buying an eighth of a cow. And, it's going to help everybody out. Again, homeschoolers, they stick together. They really do. They're on their own community, and they want to watch everybody be successful. Okay, meal prepping is a big, important thing, and that's what I do. Okay, so I'm really busy with the show. I really am. We don't miss any meals. You know why? Because I prep and I cook ahead. I make up biscuits and put them in just get one biscuit out for Phil's breakfast. He likes his biscuit in the morning. And you can do the same thing, and you'll find yourself in a lot of time. You're not commuting to work. The kids are not being put on a long bus ride. None of that stuff's going on. You'll find time is going to be actually spent better. Okay, now, find the routine that works best for your family and stick with it. You got to get a routine going. They say it takes, like 10 times for a routine to develop, and you can do that. Now, for the routine that works best, stick with it. And if you have multiple kids to teach, try combining subjects that aren't necessarily age specific. That helps. For example, all of the students might study the same piece of literature, art, or a time period, and then they can do their own age appropriate projects. Easy to do. Now, Donna, I'm sold on it. How can I get started homeschooling? I'm going to tell you how. So let's say that after weighing the pros and the cons, doing your research, you decide homeschooling is the right choice. Your family's on board and you're ready to get started. What now? I'm going to tell you. First of all, take a deep breath. There are lots of resources out there and options to sort through, so don't get overwhelmed. Again, go to this website, RamseySolutions.com. RamseySolutions.com. Okay, homeschooling is all about starting small and figuring things out as you go. And to get the ball rolling, here are a few action steps. Okay, number one, find your local homeschool requirements. Okay, and sometimes they are state specific, sometimes they're county specific, whatever county, or sometimes they're city or town specific. So you just find out what works for you. So if you live in Alabama, live in South Carolina, North Carolina, whatever, all that information is available on the internet. Okay, figure out how your students learn best. Okay, I'm a visual person. As long as that teacher was drawing stuff on the chalkboard and whatever, I'd grab it. I'd be into it. Some kids are not like that. Some kids learn a different way. You just need to find out how your kids learn. Okay, figure out how they learn and then decide how you prefer to teach. Now, you need to choose a curriculum. You need to get them on board with that. You'll need to create a schedule. That's extremely important. And just plain old enjoy the process. How about that? You'll find you're all together. The small ones are going to be learning from the big ones. The big ones are going to be learning from the small ones. We all learn as we go older, right? Now, at this point, maybe you're thinking, am I even qualified? I feel too dumb. I'm not so sure I can teach my kids. I know you would think that, even though it's not true. Am I even qualified to teach my kids at home? You're not the first parent to ever question their own ability or sanity. But the good news is you don't need an education degree to be a homeschool teacher. All you need is some stellar resources. You got to have folks you can cry on their shoulders, and excitement for the year ahead. And lucky for you, there's no shortage of resources that are available to you. Now, plugging into a local homeschool group is a great way to get connected with other families. Find out what works for them and see the curriculum, the extracurriculars, and co-ops that they enjoy. Now, there are tutors, sports teams, online forums, especially designed for homeschool families. Plus, I'm telling you, it's getting really popular out there. Plus, online platforms for specific subjects. You name it, you can probably find a resource for it. Now, if you want to teach your high schoolers how to handle money the right way before heading out into the real world, that's out there too. You can go to RamseySolutions.com and you will find what you're looking for. Now, you know your child best. You know more than any teacher, and there's some fantastic school teachers out there. And you have the freedom to decide how to educate your own kids. If you're not for a liberal standpoint and you really want to teach your kids about freedom, the founding fathers of the country, wonderful history curriculums out there for that. You don't have to worry about Common Core either. Now, there's one final word of advice according to RamseySolutions.com if you choose the homeschooling. Okay, start simple. Yeah, don't overload yourself. Start simple. You'll figure out over time how your student likes to learn and how you like to teach. You can play around with your routine and tweak things as you go. You'll learn, you'll add things, you'll take things away. That's all part of the gig. But most importantly, whether you choose to send your child to school or homeschool them, just enjoy it. Education is wild and wonderful and something we should never, ever take for granted. Okay, again, that website, go ahead and check it out. And that's RamseySolutions.com, RamseySolutions.com. Teach your kids how to write checks. Teach your kids what debits and credits are. It's a lifetime of learning, and you will have the absolute most wonderful adults that you're raising. Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much again for watching. If you don't mind sharing this with your friends and family, I sure would appreciate that. Send emails to Donna@DonnasEdge.com. That's Donna@DonnasEdge.com. Again, thank you so much for watching.